Folks, D-Day is finally here. Yeah? Siku ya interview ya maprezo. Yeah, and some of the people interviewing, actually a lot of the panel are tribal. So it will just have to come down to number of votes of who will decide who should be our next president. Yeah? Of course, also at stake is governor's seat. That will be very hotly contested. Members of parliament, county assembly members, and women reps for the county, of course. Okay, that is last but certainly not least. Yeah, women reps have played a very important role in the development of our country. Okay, now of course we're going to be talking about how DP Ruto prayed for the opposition. Yeah, but we'll talk about that towards the end of this recording. Now, most people woke up very early. Some people even slept in polling stations. Hey, Kenyans are serious about voting. They're not joking. Just imagine spending the night at a polling station. Where? Yeah, and of course the constitution does not allow more than 700 people per polling station. So hopefully this should enable the exercise to move fairly quickly. We should start getting the first results trickling in a few hours. Of course, on this channel I'll keep you up to date. Yeah, not only with what's happening, yeah, but also what is the results which are trickling in. Up to this point, the peace has held. That's the most important thing, and we should be very grateful to God, yeah, that He has brought us thus far. Okay, and I'm sure He's going to take us through the rest of this electioneering or 2017 general elections. Of course, we are moving to the critical stage. This is where the results will be released. Yeah, if I can quote local jargon, hapo ndo maneno umana, hapo ndo kina umana usually. Yeah, that's where trouble starts when election results are announced. Yeah, especially if the people feel that those election results have been fiddled with. Yeah, and of course, running into these elections, the government reassured us that the elections will be free and fair. But talking is one thing, actions speak louder than words. The actions did not convince many Kenyans. But let's hope for the best as we go into the elections. Now, Martha Karua casting her vote, as you can see on the screens right now, very early this morning. Now, one of the seats that people are going to be really keeping an eye on is the Kirinyaga Gubernatorial seat, yeah, where Martha Karua is up against the famous NYS scandal lady, Anne Waiguru. Okay, all indications are that Anne Waiguru will carry the day, but there are those of us, including myself, who are praying for a miracle. Yeah, because this is the lady I voted for in the presidential elections in 2013. Okay. And I'm just hoping that she gets through this, the biggest political fight of her life, Martha Karua. Yeah, of course, we'll be keeping you updated on that. This is another not hotly contested, this is another seat that people will be waiting and anticipating, yeah, to see who wins. This is Joyce Laboso casting her vote earlier today. Of course, she's trying to unseat Bomet Governor Isaac Ruto, who's also a principal of NASA. Okay, there's been a lot of arguments about that seat. A lot of people have said that Ruto will lose, the opposition will lose in the Rift Valley, etc., etc. But we wait to see. Okay, of course, if you've been listening into this channel, I have a different view. Yeah, and I don't mind being wrong. If I'm wrong, I will say. Yeah, that's one of the things. I don't have to be right all the time. Okay, so we'll wait and see. There were reports earlier that the KEM system had failed, especially in areas like Kisumu. Yeah, but it is now reported that the problem has been fixed by the technical team from the IEBC, and that voting is going on as normal. Yeah, we're grateful for that. Now, some polling stations opened late. In fact, there are reports still unconfirmed that some polling stations were still not up and running by the time I made this recording. But I don't think that is anything to be very concerned about. Yeah, of course, people may say one of the ways to rig is to open polling stations in your opponent's place late, yeah, and then close early. Yeah, but that is neither here nor there, because the polling stations are open up to 5. they can decide to extend the time, and even then whoever is in the queue at the time they close the polling station has to vote. Okay, so really I don't think that is really an area of concern. I could be wrong, but that is my view right now from where I sit. Now there's a report that has come in that is a bit alarming, actually quite alarming, from all the way from Lamu, where the NASA coordinator claims that the presidential ballot box was already stuffed when the voting started. Okay, it's a claim, it's not been verified, but being a NASA coordinator, he's allowed to speak his mind, he's allowed to speak what he sees. I hope the IEBC will take action on that. Yeah, of course he said that the ballot boxes were already marked in favor of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Okay, but let's wait and see how that turns out. Okay, no need to panic at this early hour. We will, once we receive reports from across the country, it will be easier to give you a clear picture of what's happening, and you can be sure yours truly will do exactly that. So to Liza Boli, don't get worried. Yeah, I will keep you very posted on that. Now on to this DP Ruto thing. Now apparently DP Ruto had a very interesting prayer on his Twitter account, where clearly he's praying for the opposition. Now of course DP Ruto himself turned up very early this morning to vote, and I think it was a good thing for him to line up just like anybody else, yeah, in the queue to vote. You can see on the photograph right now, yeah, very humble, the right kind of thing I think for a leader to do, sets a good example, because a lot of Kenyans, I don't know if you've been in this situation, a lot of Kenyans like jumping queues. You know, when they see a queue they find a way of going in front. Yeah, Kenyans don't like queues, everybody's in a hurry. Yeah, in fact one of the booming businesses that's going on right now in some polling stations is the baby business, whereby if you want to vote quickly, borrow the neighbor's kid, unabeba mtoto, pinch him a bit, pinch him or her a bit, ndo anze kulia, polling officials say wenda bele, you know, go and vote quickly, wenda ulishe mtoto. Okay, now this has caused some officials to mark the baby, so that after you vote, when you're marked with the ink to show that you're voted, the baby is also marked, so that akiweko mtoto akitumiwa tena kwa queue, they'll be able to know. Yeah, call your bluff. Now the only problem is if you're a mother and somebody borrowed your baby and then now it is your turn to vote. Shauri yako. Anyway, yeah, that was DP Ruto. Now about his prayer on Twitter, I just want to repeat what he said, or rather his prayer. One part of it: frustrate any scheme to rig or steal. Yeah, destroy any plan for chaos, confusion, or violence. Amen. Okay, and I would also say amen to that. Now, of course, when somebody in government talks about frustrate any scheme to rig, I know people are divided. I know some people believe that the opposition can actually rig a presidential poll. Yeah, there are many people who believe that. I'm not one of them. Okay, so if somebody says a prayer like this, what they're actually doing is they're praying for the wrong side. Yeah, because there are a lot of Jubilee supporters who know that the chances are high that the government in power will go ahead and rig this election. Actually, we've had quite a lot of evidence to that, to that effect. Yeah, in fact, I'll put it this way: I've not seen any evidence that the government will not try to rig this one. I've not yet seen. In fact, all the evidence I've seen is to the contrary, that they'll actually fiddle these elections. Okay, so for a man high up like Bwana Ruto to actually say a prayer like that, frustrate any scheme to rig or steal the election, is very encouraging. It's very good, but also it raises a few questions. Yeah, I discussed that in my club 1999. Very sensational stuff. Okay, that's it for now, folks. I'll keep you updated as we go. I'll keep you updated all the way, yeah, through these elections. Let's keep the peace. Let's behave like Kenyans. We're all Kenyans. We have a life after the elections. We have a country after the elections. Let's keep the peace. Let's behave maturely. Yeah, no problem can be solved by violence. Yeah, no problem in the world can be solved by violence. Okay, so until next time, this is yours and truly, Chris Kumekucha.